budgeting and storytelling. Like so much of this is communication, right? And sometimes we can actually communicate effectively to our executive director, but they have to go explain it to a board. And it's hard because, again, some of us might not have been trained in finance. And so to be able to explain it effectively to our executive director is actually easy because they could see with their eyes combined with what we're saying. But for them to take it and then take it to the next level to a board, that's often where I find the dissonance happens. So what's the best way to show a board member like the gap basically we're talking about the tuition charge versus the actual cost because um like a board member might have a finance background and not understand the nuances of what they're saying. So if you let's say you were on a board, like how would you want to hear it? What would you want to know in order to make a sound decision?
So I can tell you right up front, one of the things I work with my camps with is we put together a dashboard. We put together a dashboard that gets presented on a regular basis to board meetings. That is, some are one page, some are 2 pages, but it's a real snapshot of what the costs involved are with camp. And it shows the information that most board members want to know. How many campers are coming? They're going to ask these questions that I'm telling you doesn't matter when I'm looking at something, but they're going to ask those questions of how many campers do you have? But what you want to start feeding them and getting them to speak the language of is, what is it costing me for those campers? What are we doing? So it's going to be, it's a mix of, I'm showing graphs for growth. I'm showing comparative year over year pieces. I'm showing week over, month over month, not really week over week, but month over month, because they're going to see it, boards are meeting any place from 6 to 12 times a year, depending on the board. So I want them to see growth and informational purposes, but I want them to also see historically what the last 2 years cost, so that they don't say, okay, could we just cut $100,000 out of the program? No, because here are the costs. You want them to have that at their fingertips. And if you do have someone, if the finance committee, if you have someone that's really, understands it on your camp committee, you want to be able to sit down with them and show them those numbers of the camper cost per week is going to guide everything. But for the greater conversation and to get with your development department, with your development vice president of the board or whoever is doing that, so that they get behind you on the fundraising side, the better you can speak the financial conversation, the more backing they're going to give you, the more backing they give you, the more funds you're going to have to play. We all know eventually we want to play. We want to put up that climbing wall over the pool, as ridiculous as that is. I remember when those were going out. But you want to have those funds, and the better you can speak the financials, the better you're going to get response from the board. And I think the real key to start with is going to be starting with a dashboard, starting with those key metrics that you're going to share on a regular basis.
Yeah. And dashboard, I mean, a dashboard can be built in Excel, right? It could be built in Google Drive. It could be built in um, any basic Excel or math formula
Google
program.
numbers, and
Yeah.
anything could do it. As long as you have the information, you can do it. The key is consistency and doing it regularly. Making sure
Yeah.
that the board understands, and it might be the first time you present it, you present out what it is, and then say, hey, come back and we consider if you have more questions. But once they start having it, they will start relying on you. They'll start relying on you and trusting you. And the more trust they have on you knowing the financials, the more trust they'll have for everything. When you say, I want to start this new puppet program, and it's going to cost XYZ to build a puppetry theater, they'll give you the backing because they understand where you're coming from.
Yes. Yeah. You want to put Ninja Warrior, any program, right? Like if you could correlate it to impact and impact through dollars, but also impact in kids. Yeah, that's wonderful.